Glad as always to have you back with us. It's Monday. I'm not necessarily glad about that, but it is the 18th day of November. Been a pretty nice one out there. And we've got some pretty decent weather in your forecast. Some sun, some clouds, some temperatures going back and forth. Same old song and dance. We'll be back down to the 40s tomorrow. We'll rebound for a few days into the 50s, and then we'll take another downturn. I'll have your latest updated forecast for you at the end of the program. Right now we've got showers, clouds, but no severe weather, no snow either. And of course, that's on the heels of a severe weather weekend. Not so much for us here in eastern Kentucky, but elsewhere certainly felt the impact of some thunderstorms and systems embedded with tornadoes for a lot of folks. We'll briefly talk about that and talk about how we pretty much got out unscathed. Officials assessing damage, though, in a lot of parts of our state, but more so elsewhere. And assessing is a good segue into another report tonight, a special invitation with some words of encouragement, hoping that they'll get some good response this Wednesday from throughout the community in regards to another phase, if you will, of the Matt McGoffin process, which began back in 2005, a meeting this Wednesday where they're hoping to get some feedback from throughout the community. And you don't necessarily have to be in the medical field, even though the health of our community is going to be the primary focus. I'll have Sharon Green Fields. I'll get used to that soon, hopefully. Run the McGoffin County Health Department with an invitation. Why it's so important that they get some feedback from throughout the community. A couple of local police officers fortunate to get out of an auto accident unscathed. The McGoffin County home destroyed by fire yesterday, and a whole lot more as we start off another week here in November, and we're getting closer, of course, to the Thanksgiving holiday all the time. As far as the damage here in Kentucky, very minimal compared to elsewhere. Emergency management officials in the western part of the Commonwealth are assessing some damage left behind from those storms that passed through the western part of our state, embedded with some tornadoes. Damaged homes, downed trees, a few thousand people without power, and only a few of those still this evening, as Kentucky was hit primarily by some winds and rain, and the system that really did a lot of damage and resulted so far in 8 deaths elsewhere. Just pretty much didn't have any strength behind it after it reached the I-65 corridor, as I think most every one of us is well aware of, because it really didn't have any problems here, and very little storming outside was seen by anybody. A few showers and some light to moderate winds at best, but the search is still ongoing, I believe, for at least 2 people who were trapped in yesterday's tornadoes in Illinois. So far, 6 people died in that state. Hundreds were injured, and it was confirmed to be an EF tornado that struck through the city of Washington. That's winds sustained of 170 to 190 miles per hour. About 500 homes destroyed there. 2 deaths in Michigan that I'm aware of, also blamed on that same weather system. Here locally, a McGoffin County home was destroyed by fire. I was out of the area yesterday, and I don't have any video. However, I did reach Fire Chief Paul Howard via telephone just a few moments before sitting down, and he did give me an update on a situation, a trailer fire. It happened on Short Fork Road, which is off 114 on the Ivington Hill. He says that some neighbors to a residence at the head of Short Fork noticed some smoke coming from the mobile home. Upon arrival of the fire department from Salyersville, flames were coming from the south end bedroom area of the structure. The District 3 Fire Department was called for additional water. Fire Chief Paul Howard of the Salyersville Fire Department tells me that they used about 1,200 gallons of water in all to extinguish the blaze, and they were able to contain it to that south end and bedroom living area, if you will, of the trailer. However, even though the fire was confined to that area with smoke and water damage, the structure was pretty much a complete loss. The residents, Mr. David Cole, the owner, were gone to the grocery store at the time. They returned back home while the fire department was trying to put out the fire. Preliminary investigation per the Salyersville Fire Department says it might be electrical. Mr. Cole did say that he had been experiencing some flickering with his electrical service inside the home for some time now. There was insurance on the structure, and that company will do a cause and origin to further try to figure out just exactly what ignited the blaze. No one was injured, and no other structures caught fire as a result. A couple of Salyersville policemen very fortunate to be in class today after making a trip to the hospital last night, as was required, not necessarily due to their injuries, but more so by protocol. 2, which is roughly half, or I guess is half, of the Salyersville City Police Force. 2 officers who are in training at the Department of Criminal Justice in Richmond for basic training. Last several weeks, they're 8 weeks in to become certified police officers in the state of Kentucky were on their way back last night for class this morning. Blake Isaac, the driver, alongside Jeremiah Watson, both with the department since the month of May, had, as I understand, turned off 499 onto 52, and during the period that they were seeing the heaviest of rains and the highest of winds in that particular area, while going up an embankment at what was estimated about 45 miles per hour, the vehicle left the roadway and then it went into a rock-lined ditch and then overturned onto its top. Both officers were wearing their seatbelt, and both made it out of the vehicle on their own and suffered only some scrapes and bruises. However, they did go to the hospital as is required for a couple of reasons, per the department's orders, and also they had to be medically cleared to be able to return back to class, which is physically stringent throughout much of it in Richmond. They were both cleared by the doctors and then did return to class today. Once again, 8 weeks in what I believe is a 16-week course. No other vehicles were involved, also probably aiding to their injuries being as light as they were. The cage inside the vehicle, not designed as a roll cage, but more of a, of course, separation cage, provided some support to the roof of the vehicle after it overturned. From time and money-saving services like their overdraft protection, telephone and online banking services, to finding the right home, college, or car loan, to personalized checking and savings accounts designed around your exact needs, Salyersville National Bank is still your best choice and the same locally owned and operated bank that's been looking out for your family's financial health since 1902. Salyersville National, restoring the piggy bank population one savings at a time. It's so new it doesn't even have a name, but it does have an amazing taste all its own. 4 pancakes, butter, syrup, plus your choice of any of our dozens of DQ toppings with a little whipped cream on top, and of course some of our world-famous DQ soft serve. And you can add bacon, sausage, or even a little country ham for a full-blown breakfast treat. Or sink your taste buds into a quarter or even half-pound grill burger fixed exactly like you like it. And you want to know the best part? James says you can have either one for breakfast as early as you want, but only at your Salyersville DQ.
Let's do this. Can't believe my daughter wants to marry a Hatfield.
And I can't believe my son fell in love with a McCoy.
I got one thing to say. They're going to have the wireless plan with the best service.
And I say they're going to have the wireless plan with the biggest savings.
Daddy!
Hush up, Mary Beth.
Pa, stay out of this, Jonah.
We're done talking.
You got that right.
Better service.
Bigger savings.
Daddy, we've both got Appalachian Wireless. Better service.
Bigger savings.
That's today's Appalachian Wireless.
Hi, I'm Don McFarland, and I want to be your family lawyer. Sometimes we all have troubles in our life, and when we do, it's good to have a friend that you can call on and during times of legal trouble. Please give me a call. I have been here my entire life. I was born here, I was raised here, I have a family here, and I've practiced law here since 1994. So if you ever have pain, if you ever have trouble, if you're ever in need, then pick up the phone and call Donald Wayne, 349-9000.
At the end of every race, Mark Martin hangs up his driving gloves. He hangs up his fire suit. And he hangs up his helmet. Which is why he picks up his phone and opens the ER Extra app. The app shows ER Extra wait times, locations, and more. It's the one safeguard Mark Martin is never without. ER Extra at Paul B. Hall Regional Medical Center. Extra fast, extra easy, extra great.
Be sure and join us tomorrow. I spent some time over at the Oscar earlier today. One of my earlier reports here in the newsroom would have been my first few years of covering news when the Boyle Springs Elementary School was bought and then it was turned into a community arts and recreation center. Well, I was back today with the Bread of Life Food Pantry, and with any such organization as theirs, there's a need year-round for their goods and services, and there's always a greater need during the holidays, and that's the message that we want to pass along, and I believe I'll have it ready to air tomorrow. Hopeful that there'll be someone out there who sees the report who might be able to help in some way, either with donations, monetary or otherwise, to help serve better than 400 people that they do each and every month and their families. So tune in, and we'll tell you about the Bread of Life Pantry tomorrow. But for tonight, let's talk about Matt McGoffin. You may recall it was back in 2005, the McGoffin County Health Department undertook the massive survey undergoing the process of going door to door, basically, and asking for opinions to determine what will make McGoffin County be a better place to live, learn, work, and play. As a result of all that data they collected firsthand during Map McGoffin, they developed a strategic plan and then adopted it for McGoffin County and Salyersville. And then over the years, they've been implementing portions of the plan and have seen some notable outcomes as a result of the community sharing their opinions during that initial assessment. Well, there's another phase coming up this Wednesday, day after tomorrow, at the McGoffin County Health Department. While the previous Map McGoffin was very broad in its scope, this will be focused specifically on the health of our community.
We had the data that came from McGoffin that was relevant and pertinent to McGoffin, because in previous times they pretty much took Big Sandy data and would apply it to McGoffin. It didn't always fit us. And because the community's always dynamic, always changing, then they recommend that we do a community health assessment every 5 years. This year, we're not doing as comprehensive an assessment as what we did back in '05, because we were looking for data that we didn't have. So we're primarily focusing on the health data, and we want to make sure that everybody realizes that we need to hear from them. You know, we encourage them to come out and be with us at our community health assessment that we're having on the 20th, which is this Wednesday, from noon till 3:30, and we will be feeding them lunch. So I just ask that you let me know that you're coming so we can make sure we have plenty to eat. And we're partnering with the Kentucky and Appalachian Public Health Training Center. Angie Carmen, she has a lot of background with helping with community assessments, and that's grant funded also. So she'll be here with us on Wednesday, and then she'll be coming back January the 16th. That's the second part of the community health assessment. What took us months to do in 2005, we're condensing and doing it in 2 community forums. So from 12 to 3:30 on the 20th, and then on January 16th, the same time frame. So we've got a lot to do, but we feel like it'll be a good use of their time. And even if you're not healthcare related, you still have an opinion about what you would like your community to look like, and what you think it would take for it to be healthy. The community health rankings are released every year, and this year we had moved up a few points, but we still are 104 out of 120 counties, which means that we have lots of room for improvement. And this is a reputable survey that's done every year, and they look at the variables in the county that either contribute to the community's wellness or things that might contribute to making them not have good health outcomes.
And Sharon says, just as it was with the original Map McGoffin process, it's vital that they get input from the community this Wednesday and for the other phases of this particular process. It's important to have current data when applying for grants. Just the fact that you have outdated data is enough for a grant to be denied. We know how important grants are to communities like ours, given the current economic status. And it's important, she says, for the identity of the most significant problems facing the health of our community to come from the community itself, not to be assessed by an entity in Central Kentucky, by the University of Kentucky. Even though their intentions are great and grand, they're not here, they don't live here, they don't live amongst us, and therefore it's important that the information comes directly from our people throughout the community, and that way they can directly work on the biggest problems facing the health of McGoffin County. These numbers here before you: unemployment 16.6% in McGoffin County, while it's 9.5% in 2012 for the state of Kentucky. We have 41% of our kids, or a little more than that, living below the poverty level. Statewide, it's about 27%. Other numbers: adult prevalence of obesity is about 8% higher than that of the nation. Lack of physical activity is about 18% higher in McGoffin versus the state as a whole. Lung cancer deaths among Kentucky, about 120 per 100,000, and that's compared to 73 for the state of Kentucky as a whole. So with statistics like this, it's easy to see that there is a great deal of room for improvement. But it's going to require that folks come out this Wednesday, for example, and share their input as to what they believe are the most significant obstacles facing the health of those of us who live here day to day in Salyersville and McGoffin County.
I did hear some of those comments of, well, what's the need in going out, to take your time out and, go to this focus group or go to this meeting, because nothing's ever going to change in McGoffin County. Unfortunately, that's kind of, been the mindset of some of the folks. But we have seen improvements, since our 2005 assessment that we've done. And we have seen some projects that were born out of MAP, like the South McGoffin Community Activists. They're a very dynamic, active group, and they've gotten a lot of good things for the southern part of the county, and the fire department partially was born out of the MAP McGoffin efforts, the community assessment. For again, it wasn't just the health department doing it; it was the community figuring out what their needs were, and then kind of setting them aside as to where they wanted to end up at, and then start taking steps toward that. Sometimes it's baby steps, but whenever we look at the health rankings, as I mentioned earlier, we've made small steps, but we're thankful that it's going in the positive direction. We're 104 out of 120. I think we used to be like 112, out of 120. So sounds better than it did.
So once again, this next phase of the assessment is this Wednesday. Starts at noon, goes till 3:30. And if you plan on attending, give the health department a call tomorrow, 349-6212. Let them know they want to have a rough head count as to who and how many to expect in regards to making sure everyone has lunch. But a big part of the MAP McGoffin process, which has since its inception been a big part of the betterment of McGoffin County. Up next, we've got announcements on our community calendar. As always, sponsored by McGoffin Farm Bureau and your local agent, Doug Green. I've got a couple of birthdays to start it all off. I've got one, a bit belated. It says Tyler Conley celebrated his 14th birthday, looks like, on the 16th. That was Saturday. So a bit belated to Tyler Conley. Happy birthday to you. Love Mom, Dad, Jasmine, Savannah. And Savannah Slusher, 9 today. Happy birthday to you. Love Mom, Dad, Jasmine, and a whole lot of friends and family who wish you well. Tyler's one of them, as you can well imagine. Happy birthday to you. For calendar announcements, Salyersville City Council was to meet this evening in regular session. That has been rescheduled for 1 week from tonight. The Salyersville City Council will meet next Monday evening at 7 p.m. McGoffin County Fiscal Court is, and I think I have that in there wrong as I am looking. Let me double check. I do. The McGoffin County Fiscal Court meeting is a regular session meeting. It is tomorrow morning, but it's 8:30 and not 8 a.m. So I don't want you there a half hour early because of my account. On the items of the agenda, an alcohol tax ordinance amendment, the sheriff's car discussion, a hometown Christmas discussion, reappointment to the water board, hazardous waste disposal. They'll be talking about roads and gas as well, all at the fiscal court meeting tomorrow at 8:30, not 8. My apologies. And the McGoffin County Board of Education has a special session to meet tomorrow. This meeting tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. at the McGoffin County Board of Education there in the conference room. Just kind of skimming the agenda here, approving a few contracts, relatively brief agenda. They will, however, be addressed by principals from all of McGoffin County schools. Elementary, middle, and high school principals will all be making presentations and discussion of test scores which were recently released and goals which have been set forth in response thereto. That's tomorrow evening at 7. Don't forget the Miss and Master Christmas Sparkle Pageant, Friday, December the 6th. If you would like to sign up, call the numbers there on the bottom of your screen. Organizers Tanika McFarland and Jency Bailey would love to hear from you kids. And call us anytime you've got an announcement, birthdays, anniversaries, and the like. We'll let everyone know what you've got planned as well. In other announcements, funeral services as brought to you on behalf of our friends at the McGoffin County Funeral Home and McGoffinCountyFuneralHome.com. I have one funeral service announcement to pass along this Monday. It's in honor of 82-year-old Thomas Alsept, who passed away on the 16th. That was Saturday, over the weekend. He was preceded in death by his wife, Ella Jane Wisecup Alsept, and he's survived by a son, Arby, and a daughter, Marie Alsept Reese. Visitation is this evening and any time prior to services. They'll begin tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. with both visitation and services from the McGoffin County Funeral Home Chapel. Burial for Mr. Alsept will follow thereafter at the family cemetery at Haney Lick.
Salyersville Nursing and Rehabilitation Center is proud to announce the newest members of our family, Administrator Lane Jones and our full-time chaplain Mark Campbell and volunteer Richard Green, new faces with the same sincere desire as these, to assist you and your family with short-term rehabilitation solutions or long-term nursing care needs, close to home and those that you love. Salyersville Nursing and Rehabilitation. Bailey's Furniture has done it again. This beautiful queen-size sleigh bed, media center, and matching chest are only $295 each, whether you buy one or buy them all. And you can save $400 and get a second nightstand with this gorgeous Von Bassett group. Lazy Boy rocker recliners start at $295 and Catnapper lift chairs start at $689 at Bailey's Furniture and GE Appliance Center.
Have a buck, get a truck. Now at Hutch Chevrolet, buy any new or pre-owned truck or car for $1. You can get a shotgun or rifle just in time for deer season. If you got $1, get a truck. For example, 2013 Chevy Silverado was $37,000. Bucks and trucks price $25,990. Only at Hutch Chevrolet Buick GMC in Paintsville, Kentucky.
They've got muck boots for the hills and the mud, work boots for on and off the job, like the newest and maybe most comfortable, hardest working Red Wing ever. They've got Western boots for kicking up your heels and a whole new store full of the newest styles from all the famous makers you love, like Wrangler, Carhartt, Ariat, Miss Me, Leathers by Scully, and more at the brand spanking new Red's Boot Barn in Salyersville. It's a time to cherish and a time to remember the reason. Pause and relish in the joy and spread the spirit of the Christmas season, and it's all best done with a holiday stop at the Seasonal Shop, where they're having their annual open house Thursday, Friday, Saturday the 14th through the 16th, 9 to 6 every day. They'll be serving hot and cold holiday refreshments. You can take at least 20% off the entire store, up to 70% off select merchandise, and an extra 20% off all clearance items. A free gift with every purchase, and be sure to register for one of the great door prizes. The annual Fraser's Prater Drugs Seasonal Shop Christmas Open House, the 14th, 15th, and 16th in downtown Salyersville.
Well, as you saw in our community calendar, with the exception of the Salyersville City Council meeting postponed from tonight to the following Monday, the McGough County Board of Education fiscal court meets. I've got the Bread of Life story, and I've already got 2 or 3 other things on tap, so be sure and stay with us. In case you're wondering, it was a big night for high school football this past Friday. The McGough County Hornets, the Morgan County Cougars, both falling in the first round. However, we do know, as we've been keeping up to date and following, the Johnson Central Golden Eagles and the Paintsville Tigers made it into the second round. Sadly, that's as far as they made it. However, one area team, relatively not in the viewing area necessarily, but one of our neighbors, is now gone from the 32 to now final 8 thus far in Class 2A high school football.
Oh, there we go. It helps when you turn the volume up. Before we get to that, though, the Paintsville Tigers fell for the 4th time only this season. They fell 42-12 at the hands of Raceland in second round action this past Friday night. They were on the road at Raceland. And that win, well, pretty much sums up their season, but they've had a heck of a season at that. Once again, 8-4 as they finished in second round action. The Golden Eagles over at Johnson Central suffered their first loss of the season in second round action. Can you believe it? They were undefeated all the way through. That's what undefeated means, right? Until they met a wall at Covington Catholic, 14-42 the final score. And at home in their second round of the Class 4A Commonwealth Gridiron Championship, they lost to Covington Catholic, who now advances. Covington Catholic 10-2 on the season, a game that ended with the Golden Eagles going quite far. But one team has made it a little further in the eastern Kentucky area.
And it's the Prestonsburg Black Cats who are now advancing on. They've gone from 32 down to the final 8 in Class 2A football, and they'll be at home once again. They're hosting Somerset this Friday night in Class 2A gridiron action. Now, the Black Cats currently, after the postseason, sitting on a 7-5 season, and they are currently 17th in Class 2A. They have defeated Lexington Christian, which was only a 1-10 season football team this time around, and Danville, which was sitting thus far at 19th in Class 2A. Now they take on Somerset, which is a 7-4 team this year round. Interesting matchup there in a couple of different ways, but nevertheless, the Black Cats are still in action at home this Friday night in third round action down to the final 8. We wish them well. And if you're wishing for a better forecast, well, we've got some good news for you. And as you can well imagine, some not so good news.
In that not so good news category, you can also add the fact that I'm having some trouble here with our generator, and I'm not being able to show you what I would like to show you right now. So in a little more fashion than I usually stumble through the forecast, I'll try to get through it tonight in part. But your Licking Valley RACC forecast for tomorrow, definitely not as nice as today. I had 37 this morning when we woke up at the newsroom. We topped out at 64. We'll fall back to around freezing under clear skies tonight. Tomorrow, we're not going to gain much ground. That's actually even a typo there that I've got. 47 is correct. That's where we expect to be. Not as nice as today by any means. And tomorrow night's low should be 29. So don't get too excited about that. Nevertheless, we're not going to go very far as the range is concerned tomorrow. 47 for your high, 29 for your low. Sunny skies will continue. The basis of the forecast from that point further, Wednesday, we're getting 56 and sunny out of it. Thursday, partly sunny and 55. We'll stay in the 50s all the way through the end of the week. And right now, things turn around for your weekend. We're talking about 49 and a chance of showers on your Saturday. And if we see 35 on your Sunday, we'll consider ourselves fortunate. I will consider myself fortunate if I have all of our graphics and everything back in tune by the time I see you back here tomorrow night, when we'll talk hopefully about, several meetings that will be ongoing here throughout the week, governmental meetings here locally, the Bread of Life Food Pantry, and much more. With my apologies, I'll go out in the dark. Not the first time, probably not the last. Nevertheless, thank you for watching and being a part of the show. Good night.